Yeah, well, first of all, I said the other day, but just want to thank the Bowl. Thought they did a great job, just the hospitality and the way that we were treated. And so we do appreciate that. Congratulations to Houston, a good football team. We do that, and those guys played well today. So told our team in the locker room, and proud of our guys. You know, we have a lot of fantastic people on this team. And in football, it does come down to execution. It comes down to things in the game that you have to do to win it. And we need to obviously be better in those areas. But as far as the people in that locker room, I'm proud to be their coach, proud of those guys this season. There's a lot to learn. Certainly the seniors, not how you want that to finish, those seniors, but they understand where our football program is going. And certainly appreciate the seniors, and those guys have been a part of this program and have been through the coaching changes and the things that have happened at Auburn, and for the effort they gave this year. We didn't get the results that we wanted at the end of the season, but there was a lot of times that you all didn't get a chance to see on the practice field, in the meeting rooms, all right, and what we get to do as a team. There was a lot of positives that I took away from this season, and certainly a lot of things that I learned as a coach because of these guys and being around them. So I'm proud of our guys. I'm disappointed in the results, and you know, we have a group of players that are fantastic guys that are going to come back and be a part of this team next year. And so these seniors, I told them to impart some wisdom on these guys before they leave, and these seniors are always a part of our family at Auburn. They know that. And then we'll get back. We'll get back and we'll start going back to work. And we've learned a lot from this year of just, you know, the details, the little things, and all it takes to be a successful football team. And, you know, we'll get to work on that eventually. But for these guys coming into this game, wanted to see them win, wanted to see them be able to finish with a W, and I think they deserve that. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but nonetheless, still proud of our guys and still appreciate what they were able to do this year and the effort they gave to this program and to this team.
We'll have questions for student athletes first. If you have a question, please raise your hand.
For Chandler, just year one under Coach Harsin, what have you learned from Coach, and what has the experience been so far in his first year as your head coach?
Yeah, Coach Harsin is tremendous. I remember, you know, the first time I sat in his office and we had our very first conversation, and the first thing I said to Coach Medin, you know, walking out there was, that's the kind of coach I want to play for. I love everything he stands for. You know, the messages he preaches on a day-to-day basis, and he just made me a better man, a better person, a better player, and he just makes everyone around him better. So, I mean, it's just hard not to, you know, want to come in and play hard for him. I mean, the direction this program is headed in, it's on an upward trajectory. So, I mean, he's building something special here. I mean, I can see it, you know, obviously you might say I'm biased, but, you know, just stepping back and, you know, just reflecting a little bit, you know, I'm just proud to say, you know, he was able to be my coach, you know, for my last year, and so I'm just appreciative of him and everything he's taught me.
Shane, just how frustrating was today offensively? You guys moved the football, and then this you know, get not necessarily red zone, but across the 50, this couldn't finish.
Yeah, I mean, that was our issue most of the day. It's pretty frustrating. You know, we drove the ball pretty well until we get down there and we have little mental errors, or, you know, we snap the ball without on the wrong cadence and stuff like that. That's just little things in the game that you can't afford to happen this late in the season. You know, this late in the season, you should be able to, the little things should be, you know, the easy parts, and more of scheme and everything. But, you know, that's part of the game sometimes, and you gotta learn to adjust and push through. And, you know, today we just didn't have enough good plays, and defense played great, I thought. I thought that the offense as a whole, we could have done a lot better. I thought we ran the ball well, but at the end of the day, it wasn't enough.
Chandler, you had 12 tackles and a fourth down stop there. As you walk off the field, what emotions are going through your mind after leaving it all out there?
Obviously it's disappointing. You want to win. At the end of the day, and that's why you play. That's why you compete. You know, to give your very best and win the game. So obviously it's disappointing from that point. You know, I don't really get into individual stats, especially after you lose, because I'd rather, you know, have 0 tackles and win, to be honest with you. So obviously our goal was to come here and win. We had a great week of preparation. It wasn't a lack of preparation. We just didn't execute in all 3 phases. So it's not just on the offense. It's on the defense as well. We had lapses as well. So obviously, you know, we wanted to win the game, but I thought we played extremely hard. It was never about, you know, the fight with this team. it's just about cleaning up those little things, and that's how we take that next step.
Chandler, you just talked about it, obviously it wasn't a perfect game for y'all on defense, but you guys did hold them down for most of the game. What was your message to them in the locker room afterward with y'all playing so many young guys and so many non-starters because of the guys you had out?
Yeah, I mean, it's just next man up. That's why you practice all year. That's why you prepare. That's why you go through, spring training. That's why you run those decks in the summertime. That's why you work out. That's why you go through fall camp. And that's why you prepare yourself like a starter, even if you're not playing, for moments like these. So when you get the opportunity, you're able to seize it. So I thought, guys who stepped up today played pretty well, and I'm excited to see what they do, in the future.
We'll have 2 more questions for the student athletes.
Question for Chandler. You guys talked about how the defense, you guys had a run there where you guys were really able to slow down Houston. What did you feel like was working, and what do you think happened on their last possession when they were able to get the ball down the field?
Yeah, I think it was just a mindset with the defense. We came out, they scored in their first opening drive. We just had to settle down. We knew they was going to come out early, make a couple plays, especially after having, a month to prepare, scheme and stuff like that. So we just had to settle down. Everybody, put 11 cleats in the ground, just play ball. And so once we did that, we were able to get on a roll a little bit. Obviously on that last drive, we were able to make some plays. We kind of got lackadaisical in our, communication and stuff like that. But, it's just about communicating and executing, like I said. It was never about effort or fight with this team. It's just about small communication and mental errors and stuff like that, like John said. So I think, we clean those up. This team can be, extremely special.
Chandler, my question for you also, you shared a moment with Smoke Monday after you got that pick, just a high-class guy, he's the last guy to come off the field, just you being able to play with him for these last 3 years, what has he meant to you and what does he mean to this program?
Oh man, he brings a lot of energy. One of our passionate leaders of this team. We feed off of that. And so you guys see him out there jumping around, making a lot of plays, just a very energetic guy. So, it's contagious. So when you get around him, it's just hard not to be like that yourself. And so I'm going to miss him. He was a tremendous player here for us, especially this season. But I know he'll continue on, to do great things.
All right, student athletes, thank you. Coach Harsin, if you can stay for a couple
Yep.
more minutes.
Thanks, guys.
Questions for Coach Harsin?
Yeah, Coach, I guess probably the most disappointing thing to you has to be the fourth quarter. 5th game in a row, you guys just have struggled to put any points up.
Yeah, not the most disappointing thing. The most disappointing thing is that we lost the game. And so your point is on the fourth quarter is what you're trying to ask, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's what you want to ask. Yeah, you need to finish games. And, when they put points on the board, you got to be able to drive down and execute a drive to put a touchdown. What we needed this time, we need to score a touchdown, so you got to be able to put one in the end zone. And, we had our opportunities. Yeah, that's what it comes down to, the execution of it. The one thing about playing this game is you got to be on point. And, today I think we were off in some areas. We weren't on point. And we did some really good things. I did think we ran the ball well at times. I thought we had a good screen game. That's an easy completion. And we hit a couple down the field throws. We didn't hit many. And then we got into the red zone there. They did a good job on a couple plays, and I thought we could have executed a little bit better. And we could have called some better plays too, to put them in a better situation. But that's football. That's what happens every single game. And at the end of the day, you got to find a way to go put points on the board when you need to, or to hold them. If you're up and it's a tight ball game. I did think our defense played well. They ended up making a few throws outside of the perimeter there in the fourth quarter, and they were getting first downs, and they were getting some explosive plays out of that, and we needed to tighten up in those areas. But no, I'm most disappointed just for our seniors, for our team, and what I see, there's a lot of fixable things. There's a lot of things out there that I know we can be much better at, and so that's the reality of it. Is it something that we can come back and address and it's very fixable? Absolutely. Is it something that we have to be aware of at all times? Yes. And finishing games is a big part of that, which it's not so much about finishing games as it is just consistent execution. So you gotta sustain the effort and focus necessary to be successful in a game. And the fourth quarter happens to be the one that gets magnified because it's the last quarter of the game. It's a continuation of the execution that you should have throughout the entire 4 quarters. In my opinion, we're not as consistent as we need to be, and those are fixable things, and we'll fix them. We'll address them, we have, but we'll address them better, we'll fix them, and those will be things that we improve on, and as we move on to this next year, and hopefully not have those same issues moving forward.
Bryan, what did you see on the penalties against Smoke as well as Joe?
Yeah. Same thing you saw, right? The replay's playing, so the same thing you saw. What did you see?
What I saw?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Why don't you answer that question?
In my
Yeah.
eyes, I didn't believe it to be. So,
Yeah, I think there's, you're talking about targeting. Targeting is a hard one, because it's just different. It's different with different crews. I think it's different in different leagues at times too. And I don't know, the guy upstairs that calls down and those and makes decisions on them sometimes, those decisions, they decide if it's defenseless or did he use the crown of his helmet. And the situations, and you gotta look at the game too. The game is it's bang bang plays. That's one of the things, and both those plays were bang bang plays. There's an interception and an immediate response. There's a slide, and quarterbacks, they all do it a little bit differently. So when a guy slides, the timing of it and all that, and you're going down, but you kind of know as a quarterback too, like when you slide, you kind of get a sense. They took the fake slide out. We saw that, right? So I just, it's disappointing. I don't disagree that there needs to be, targeting calls because, that's what protects the game. I just think it's hard to make those decisions. I really do. So I don't envy the officials how to make those decisions because you pull a guy out of the game, a senior, for example, that doesn't get a finish. And, that's a tough one to swallow. So when those things happen, it's difficult, but it did, and other guys had to step up. And so, that's just part of the game.
how much does losing 2 guys of that caliber impact your defense?
Well, I think anytime you lose a starter, every starter, every guy that's played for you, there's a reason why they're starters, so it impacts your team. All right, and if the guys behind them were that good, they'd be starters. So it does affect your team. When you lose a starter, because you don't just lose that player in that game, you lose the 185 reps he took that week. Right, you lose a guy as your left tackle on special teams, on punt. So you lose the guys that took the reps, that were in there, that got all the coaching points, that went through the film, that watched themselves. And so when you don't have your starters in there, you lose a lot of experience, just a lot of things that happen throughout the season, especially in the last game. And yeah, the next guy has to come in there and step up, and I think there's some things physically that guys can do, but there's not the same amount of experience that your starters have. So that's really what you lose. You just lose that little bit of a guy seeing something on the field because he's already seen it 3 games ago that makes a call and a decision to get us in the right coverage that another guy may not see. And so yeah, when you lose anybody who started for you and played significant amount of snaps, that does affect your team.
Yeah, Bryan, TJ had some really great throws and then missed some guys downfield too. What were some of the encouraging things that you saw from him, and what do you sort of want to work on most with him this offseason going forward?
Well, yeah, the encouraging things are the throws he made, the ones that he didn't. We just got to give our guys a chance. And sometimes, the wind's a little bit of a factor at times. And, there's obviously there's pressure. It's not like you drop back and set your feet every throw. You're sliding, you're moving. There's all these little factors that just, you have to adjust. So there's always little tiny tweaks at that position that you're just maneuvering through in a particular play. And at the same time, we still got to give those guys opportunities. And I know he knows that. I thought the decision making wasn't bad. He was going to the right guy. So we were making the right decisions. We were throwing to the right guys. Now we got to execute a little bit better on the throws. And I say that without watching the film. I mean, I think the receivers did a decent job of getting themselves open. There were opportunities to go make plays, and then protection as well. So there's always little factors that show up in the game. But TJ prepared well. He cares. You know, he knows what he's doing out there. He did some good things as far as checking us out of some bad plays. And so he made some good decisions that way. And, you know, again, he's a young player. He's a young player that didn't have a chance to play a ton this season. And now he's into, you know, the starting role and a chance to go out there and really learn as he develops himself. And so this offseason is going to be big. There's a lot to learn from, and we're going to move on to this offseason and start preparing him for what we do moving forward.
We'll have time for 2 more questions.
Coach, I asked you this yesterday. You said you had a game to be played before you could really assess, but overall this season, just kind of, I know you just got off the field and you have some time to think, but what's the message to Auburn fans as well going into next year and the future of Auburn football?
Well, again, I'm still not going to assess the season yet until you actually have a chance to go back and truly dive into what did you learn. That's really what you do. You dive into what did you learn from the year, and then you go back and evaluate every single thing. As far as our football program goes, I think there's a lot of things that we learned this year that we know we have to be better at. In order to be the type of caliber program that I think we can be, we need to have the mentality that every single day, you know, what we do matters. And it really does. I mean, that's just, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. I think teams that have success and organizations that have success, then everything you do matters. So the way that we prepare, the way that we work, the way that we do things, and I thought we did a really good job of that when I first got here. You know, we had some really good things. There was a lot of focus and attention, and as things get easier or you start to win and you have success, you know, you have to make sure that you go back to what you were doing that worked. And so, you know, I think depth is a factor in our football team, and you know, we're obviously having a chance to bring some guys in, and recruiting is a big factor. All right, that never ends, and so, you know, we'll continue with that. And then we'll get our players back and we'll refocus on things that we know that we have to do better. We'll take what we learned from this season and then go apply to next year. But as far as what those guys in that locker room want, they want to win. They want to win a championship. They want to be a team that goes out there and plays 4 quarters and has success and fights like we've seen these guys fight. They want those things. So we have to do a great job of continuing to emphasize that and make that a major part of our program that, you know, is consistent. And I think the inconsistency showed up more this year than the consistency did. But we're not going to stop. I mean, that's the beauty of it. You know, I told those guys, man, I learned more this season than I've learned any year I've played and coached. And so that's motivating going into the off season that, hey, these are the things that we can fix. And they're very fixable. And that's the best part. I mean, if I didn't think that they were fixable, you know, you'd be miserable. Like, this is just how it is. Well, it's not like that. They're very fixable. There are some things as far as an attitude and a mentality that we do need to fix. Not just within our team. I mean, just our program. And we're here to do that. That's the challenge. So all the things that we know we have to do, we're going to focus on that. All the things that I think from the outside perception that everyone thinks we have to do, we're going to focus on those things too. But you know, nobody's going to go in there and just hang their head and just say, well, this is just how it is. No, we're going to change it, we're going to fix it, and we're going to get better. At the end of the day, I mean, there is no plan B, right? There's plan A, and we're here to make this work. And we got a staff and a group of players that are all willing to do whatever it takes to make it work. So at the end of the day, that's it. And so, you know, we'll be driven, we'll be motivated, you know, whatever extra pressure that's not really going to be needed to be applied, because we already feel that. We want to win, and we want to be successful, and Auburn football should, in my opinion. So there's things to clean up, there's a lot to do, and, you know, we're here to do it. So these next couple of days, we'll reevaluate kind of where we are. We're going to dive right into recruiting. And we're gonna get back together as a staff, and we'll go through what did we learn, which is the season. We'll get Austin Davis here on staff, and we'll have a team meeting on the 11th, and we hit the ground running. And we're not gonna back down. I mean, that's just the bottom line. We got a lot of work to do, and we know where we wanna be, and the guys that are in that program, the guys that are in our program, that are gonna be a part of what we're doing, they're gonna have the same mentality too. And I know they are, because there's a lot of new faces that are gonna be sitting in that team room very soon. And I know there's a lot of guys that are coming back that want those things. So that's the encouraging part. If I didn't feel that way, I wouldn't say it. But it's a few things here and there that we have to clean up and get better at. It's a few players and things that we can do better as a staff, that I know we can do better, and that everybody on that staff wants to be better at. So that's the encouraging piece. You know, and we're gonna go back to work. That's what we do. And so our guys know that, I know that, and you know, that's what I'm looking forward to. You know, this game is disappointing. I'm also, you know, once we get back to Auburn and we have a chance to kind of sit back there for a few hours and take all this in, we'll get right back on to what we have to do to be better.
Final question.
Brian, I know Chandler said he'd rather have 0 tackles and win than have the kind of game that he did and lose, but just from your perspective, what's it mean to see, you know, a guy like him, a senior team captain, someone you said you've had a lot of respect for since that first meeting, just go out and, you know, leave it all on the field like he did today?
Yeah, well, I mean, he had a turnover today. I love Chandler, and I really do. He's one of those guys that you want in your organization, period. Period. You know, he has presence. He's a great father. He's a tremendous worker. He's a guy that does what he says he's gonna do. So, I mean, that's why he's a captain. And, you know, I do respect that. So, like I said, I'm disappointed that he didn't have the results that I think he deserves, and the guys in that room deserve this season, but that doesn't take anything away from Chandler whatsoever. Like that guy, I would take that guy in our building 10 times out of 10, and on any team I've ever coached. So, I mean, that's the bottom line. So that, like I said, the results don't show what our team is really made of, in my opinion. And I think that's the one thing that's disappointing, is you don't really get a chance to share that with many people, because the record we have is not what we wanted and not the expectation at Auburn football. But there's a lot of great people that are in that locker room, and he's one of them. So I know that, and that's the beauty of being a head coach. You get a chance to touch the lives of so many different people. We got fantastic people in that locker room. We just don't have the results yet. And those results will come, and those seniors, although they're not playing, will still be a part of that in the future. And they know that, and I know that, and so to go back to that question, where we're going, the people in our football program know. It's just a matter of time.
All right, Coach, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Brian, thanks for the season, man.
Yep, thank you, guys.
You
guys use
Yep,
it.
happy holidays,
Right here.
safe travels, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank
Take
you.
care, man.
Thank you.